The 8-step process for storytelling marketing online. Hey guys, you know and I know the ads that really stick with you, the marketing that really sticks with you are those stories. When they tell those stories and you get involved, you're a whole lot more apt to buy that particular product. Hey, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. If it's red, you got to click it and turn it gray, and don't forget to turn on all bell notifications, ring the bell, and that way you will be notified anytime I do a new video. So in this video, I want to walk you through this 8-step process. At the end of this video, you're going to have the tools you need to do amazing storytelling in your marketing and make more money. Now, those businesses that get this, those businesses that understand the storytelling process, always sell more products. So stick with me on this video to the very end, follow all these steps, and you can increase your sales. Now, the number one thing you want to do is understand your audience. Know who your audience is. You want to speak directly to that person. This is the one step that a lot of businesses, they just don't do. And if they don't do this, they don't get it. And if they don't get it, they're not going to have a good story and they're not going to sell anything. You've got to really target in on your customer. Are they men? Are they women? You know, what is their age range? What is their income? What do they like? What do they dislike? All those things are super important. If you incorporate that into your story, you can also set yourself up for the character in the story. Okay, they want to feel like that character in the story. They want to go through that same journey that that character is going through. The next thing you want to do, number two, is that two? Yes, two, is define your core message. What's your core message? Now, I try to tell people your core message should be able to be described in maybe 6 to 10 words, something like that. It's got to be extremely concise and clear. What is the point of your story? And you got to realize that you're doing this for the benefit of the person that is listening to you, that is watching your video. What is the core message? How are they going to benefit? If you can get that across, you've done step 2, but you got to do that. Okay, clear and concise. Please stay with me. Clear and concise. Number 3, decide on the kind of story that you want to tell. Now, this is super important because this is what's going to keep the person involved. Now, what I see a lot is people get into way too many details, and they get all sidetracked. Try to stay on the path. You want to be descriptive, but you don't want to have so many details that you lose the listener. And the next thing I'll tell you, if it's your own story, they can really relate even better. Like I have my own story for when I'm teaching people how to make money online. I say, you know, I couldn't even hardly send an email when I first started. I didn't know anything. And you know, I've grown my business into millions of dollars of sales in both digital and physical products. So people can relate to that. They're like, well, I'm not technologically advanced either. Maybe I could do this. And they can, and you can too. So it's just a matter of learning these different things and applying them. But make sure that you keep your story on track and you decide what kind of story you want to tell. I also would add to that if you can incorporate that listener into your story, if you can tell them to share your story with other people, that's super important because that gets your message out to other people. So try to draw them in enough to where they actually want to share your story. Number 4, have a strong call to action. What is a call to action? Well, the whole point in you telling this story, the whole point in you marketing with stories is because you want to get them to do something. Okay, maybe you want to get them to go to your webinar, maybe you want to get them to buy your product, maybe you want to get them to join your membership, maybe you want to get them to opt into something or get a free download or whatever it is. But you've got to really figure out what that call to action is. I see so many times the call to action is not clear at the end of the story that people really don't know what to do. So make sure they know what to do at the end of your story, and that call to action is going to benefit them, and it's also going to benefit your business. Next thing, number 5, is determine the type of story and the medium you're going to use. Okay, there's 3 different types of stories. You've got visual, you've got written, and you've got spoken. Okay, so right now I'm doing the spoken one, but you got to select what you're going to do, and some of those can sometimes overlap too. Like I've had videos on a page that tells a story, but below that I'll have the text to that video, or I'll have more supporting information or more benefits or whatever I'm going to put on that particular page. So you can combine these things. Now, the cheapest obviously to do is going to be written in such things like a blog, something like that, where you're actually telling the story in your blog. Those work really well, and that's probably the cheapest and the easiest way to tell your story. Now you can write this actually on your site, or what I prefer to do is write it separately and then upload it. I can put it on Microsoft Word, or I can use Google Docs, which is free. You can use Google Docs for free, and you can actually write your story there and then actually upload it to your website. The next one would be an oral story if you choose to do that. And a good example of that would be maybe a TED Talk, something along those lines. TED Talks are going to take more work, obviously, because you usually will combine some type of visuals along with it. Maybe you have a PowerPoint, maybe you have a panel of people, I don't know, whatever you choose to do. But when you do an oral presentation, an oral story, it is going to take you more work, but it also will get you better results, and you'll have more people drawn into your story since they're not just reading a page on the internet. The next thing you can do is audio stories, and a good example of that nowadays is podcasts. I mean, podcasts are cheap to do nowadays. Almost anybody can do a podcast. You could do it on your phone if you wanted to, but they're really good because they draw people in. They can help you build that call to action within your story and keep people really interested. There's some great podcasts out there now. I know my wife listens to a lot of them. Matter of fact, she has a podcast. I've thought about doing one, but I haven't done it as of yet. But podcasts work really well, and they're great audio stories, and people can actually access it whenever they want to. That's another good thing about it. Nowadays people's schedules are so busy, they don't have time to listen to a podcast at 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if it is a podcast that's recorded, they can always go back and listen to it at their convenience. And of course, the last of these is a digital story. A digital story is kind of what I'm doing right now. It's usually a video. Now, videos are probably going to take you more work than anything else. You've got to plan it out. You've got to have some sort of script or outline. You got to have camera equipment, or you can use your iPhone. But obviously, the better quality video you can do, the better results you're going to get. But those are also free for you to do nowadays because you can do it on YouTube. You're listening to me on YouTube right now, which is awesome, right? You can just go to YouTube and you can watch these stories that people tell, like I'm doing right now. Now, I'm not selling you anything. The only call to action I would give you is to grab my free course at the end of this video. There's a link down there. It's a $97 course, and you can get it absolutely free. Number 6 is actually create your story. Now, creating a story is very, very important because you want to have a main character in that story that the listener, that the reader can relate to. That's super important that you do that. And you've got to have some type of disaster or catastrophe or something happen within the story, and showing that particular person overcoming that disaster or that problem or whatever it was. I know when I first started out selling online, I was selling cell phone cases, and I lost my butt and I didn't hardly sell any of them, and I ended up with a bunch of inventory I couldn't sell, but it taught me certain things that I could use later on to help me grow my business. Now, I think it's also important to have a lot of different facets to your character in your story, and certainly when you're telling this story, be honest. Okay, don't make up stuff that's not true. You want to have true stories. That's the important thing. I always tell my true story of how I grew my business, from my first sale, which was $10, to millions of dollars in sales in both digital and physical products. And I went through this journey. I had all kinds of problems, and I almost went out of business several times. I lost a lot of money, but I came back, and we're doing quite well now. So make sure when you tell your story that people can relate to it. If they think that you had smooth sailing from beginning to end, they're not going to be that interested in your story. And the truth is, nobody really does. There's always problems that you're going to encounter, and when you put those into your story, you're going to have a much better story, and people are going to believe it more, and they're going to use your call to action much more quickly. And number 7 is share your story. You got to share your story. Okay, it's really important to get it out there. Now, how are you going to do that? I choose to do it on YouTube. I love YouTube. I think YouTube's a great platform. You can go on YouTube and learn anything you want about anything you want. I just think it's great, and they let us do it for free. I mean, YouTube is an awesome company, right? But you can also do it on social media. Maybe you have an Instagram account, maybe you have Facebook, maybe you have Twitter. You can share your story in many different places, or you could put an excerpt of your story at the beginning of a Facebook post or Instagram or whatever, and have them click to go over and watch the rest of the story. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to hold back. You don't want to have your best stuff at the end of the story. You want to have it at the beginning of the story. If you have it at the beginning of the story, it's going to draw people in, make them want to listen to the entire story. So remember, your best stuff up front. And number 8, and probably the most important, get better every day. get better every day. Every time you tell one of your stories, every time you do your marketing, try to tweak it a little bit, do a little bit better, make it more interesting, make it more detailed, make it more clear, more concise. Go through these steps as you're creating these stories, and you're going to find that you will get better and better and better if you try to get better. I've seen people do the same thing for many years and never get better because they don't try to improve. Improving is important. You must do that every day. You've got to get better. Now, some final thoughts. Storytelling has been around ever since the beginning of man. The cavemen drew stories and pictures on the walls of caves, and they were telling stories, and to this day stories sell more products than anything else. And what's wonderful about nowadays is that you don't have to invest a lot of money. I mean, almost everybody's got like an iPhone or a smartphone. A lot of us have a laptop or something like that, but the creation of stories doesn't take much money. It takes time and effort, and I think that's what scares more people off than anything else. They think, well, I've got to have the best camera, I got to have the best lighting, or I've got to have the best website. No, you don't. You just got to get started, and when you get started and when you start working on your story, it will get better and better and better, and you'll get more results. Don't expect immediate results. Okay, this channel here that you're listening to right now has over 1,000 videos on it. I've put a lot of time into this, and I've made some money. I haven't made the amount I want to make, but I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't matter. The point is, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep providing you guys with the information that you need to make money online. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do. And if you did enjoy it, give me a comment below. Tell me what you thought of it. Maybe you have some subject matters that you would like to see me do a video on. I'll be happy to do that. Post that in the comment section below. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so, and I couldn't grab the bell. Ring the bell. Okay, ring the bell and turn on all your notifications so that you're notified each and every time I go live. I thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget, there is a free course below, $97 course. All you gotta do is click and learn. No credit card required. Make sure you grab that. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell right there so you can be notified every time I do a new video. Also, click on one of those videos there. Keep watching on my channel.